Morning. On a very blustery coastal Kent day. Cool, can't believe I said that. That was a mouthful. Yeah, welcome to Sheerness. Welcome to Warden Point. I've got a very strange connection to this place, which I will tell you about. Yeah, when we actually get there, because it's a bit embarrassing. Maybe. It might be, I don't know. But I will tell you about it. But before I do that, I feel that obviously this is long overdue. So I make my apologies in advance. But we're here now. It's very windy. So I'm at the first thing I want to talk to you about. So what I'll say is, enjoy your history lesson and come back to me, please, before the erosion gets me. Come on.
The Isle of Sheppey has been a place we have visited many times on this channel, and I have no doubt that it will be a place we will come back to in future videos. And for good reason, because it's an island that contains a lot of hidden historical relics that span across the ages. And so it's in today's video that we focus on its World War II past, that of Warden Point Chain Home Low radar station. Warden Point was among many locations that were chosen to become part of a network of chain early warning radar stations that would prove vital during World War II. With the system developed by the Army, the site was built in May 1941. The station was initially a temporary station, however it became permanent the following year in 1942, and with its main role as being a counter-bombardment battery observation post. With its prime views overlooking the Thames estuary, its main goal was used to plot positions of German E-boats. It was soon established that the radar used to detect shipping could also detect low-flying aircraft. With this, the RAF eventually took over the site and it became known as a Chain Home Low station. The site, when fully operational, was noted as having 23 personnel, of which 9 of them were guards. After the war it became abandoned, and it was during the 1980s when it subsided and fell into the sea. And with that, it is now becoming a place lost in time, but hopefully with a video like this, it will never be forgotten for the vital role that it played during World War II.
Hello and welcome back. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Now, what we're going to talk about first off was something I was debating whether to put it in a history lesson or not, but I thought actually, do you know what, I might as well talk you through it. So, adjusting the mic. This, believe it or not, is the remnants of a sound mirror. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, we have done a couple of these before. We've done Hive and we've done Dover, which is Abbott's Cliff, Folkestone. And yeah, this is actually the remains of a sound mirror. And it could be a video in itself, but actually I'll link it up because we're right next to the, oh, sorry about that wind. We're right next to where we need to be, is what I was trying to say. Can you see the parabolic arch there? And then obviously it's been capped off in half, so it's sort of split in half, and then it's all collapsed from the top coming down, and you can see where that dish shaped, like parabolic sort of shape would have continued. And what's amazing is that even after all this time, you can still get an amazing perspective if you know what you're looking at to understand what this is. And I'm sure some of you who have lived here may not have even known about this, but for a few history lovers like me and a few other people, we're very aware of this. But yeah, it's so rare to see. So if you didn't know what an acoustic sound mirror is, it's basically the precursor to what we're about to explore. It's a primitive form of radar. The idea was that the dish would have a microphone placed in the middle of the dish. The way I always describe it, and I've described this to students before, I'm going to try and get out the wind a little bit. Is basically, you know, if you have a cup on a string, if you're old enough to remember that, like a telephone thing, because of that sort of shape, that concave shape, when you talk into it, the sound transfers through the string and you can hear somebody on the opposite end. This was kind of the same, only one-sided. So just imagine you've just got one cup and then you've got a microphone which probably would have been placed there, and it would have resonated sound that would have come into that, and then it would have picked up vibrations potentially of engines of planes. Now it did work, this. That's why there are a few dotted along the Kent coast and other parts of England. So we know that this actually worked. But then radar came about, and what I love about this stretch of coast is you can literally trace the history of radar and defence literally within a small stretch. So you've got the sound mirror, and then we're going to go to the radar station, the chain home low radar. Oh, that's such a mouthful, that. Just around the corner. So yeah, what are you waiting for? Let's carry on. Right, so we are now at the transmitter building. So there's only 3 buildings that are really left. But what you've got to imagine is that originally they were way up there. So let's get a perspective of where originally, probably the original height of where this station would have been. And as it's slowly eroded down here. And then you can see all this extra bits of brick and concrete scattered about everywhere. You've got to imagine as well that the staff who were here would have been in Nissan huts potentially, although it doesn't state that from what I've seen, but I know probably from experience they would have been in some Nissan huts, which are pretty much where the caravan park is now. But yeah, so we're in the transmitter building, which let's just say in all instances these have all seen better days. Okay. These have all seen better days. What I'm going to do is, when we get to the final one, I will give you my confession of why I know this place very well. Still debating whether I want to tell you, but I think I will. So yeah, isn't this just amazing? Like I said, long overdue on the channel. Such an important relic, and now you can see all 3 in sequence. And you can hear the sound of the waves as they're... I've picked the right time, but it just always seems to be like it's closer than it needs to be. But yeah, isn't that amazing? So we're at the transmitter building, and then what you've got in front of you is you've got the generator, and then you've got the operations block. So yeah, transmitting those signals out here, going right across out there into the Thames Estuary. You can see oh god, it's Red Sands, but it's not, is it? Mansell Seafort's out there as well, because Red Sands I think is further away, so that's probably Red Sands what we're looking at. The Seafort's out there. Look at this though, you can see the original doors that would have been here. Again, I apologise for the lighting. There we go. See the original doors. Just this thick concrete that lasts, doesn't it? It's amazing how well it's kept. So impressive. Even now, I can't remember. Probably the last time I came down here was about 15 years ago. It's a very long time since I've come back here. And then the time before that is where I've got my confession. I'm leaving you in such suspense. It's really sad, isn't it? But yeah, that's building number 1. We'll walk around it because we want to try and get a fairly good documentation, even though a lot of people have done this before. But I've not done it for the channel, so hopefully you can forgive me on that. And all you fellow explorers who are watching, well done for doing probably such an amazing job. I'm sure you have. There we go. Right. Onwards. In between this amazing... Well, actually, let's look at this as well. We might as well. Let's try and do it in fairly real time-ish now, I reckon. No point getting too fancy. And plus, let's be honest, you all want me to fall over, don't you? You all want me to slip and slide. So there we go. We're saying goodbye to the transmitter room. And now we're going to head over to the generator and then the operations room that's just around there. And this building, I'm not going to lie, I think it's an auxiliary building, or formerly was. But like I said, from experience, there was some drainage that I'd seen as well. So it could have been, well, no, look, if we look at this, might have been an added section of transmitter building. In fact, I'm being a bit silly. I think this was also part of the transmitter building. And obviously the rubble in between. And then as we look through here, what would have been those shutters that we've seen before on plenty of World War II structures. But yeah, I can only give you the information I always find, and like I said, every time I've been here, I've always been aware of these three buildings, and the rubble in between has always been a mystery. Oh, nearly went then. I had a funny feeling like I was going to fall today. I just had a premonition. I was going to go. There we go. Anyway. Looking down. I'm not looking through the camera whilst I'm walking. That would be absolutely stupid. Not that I've done stupid things before. So this is, like I said, we're talking about this now. So we're at the generator building now. The operations room is the one that is very flooded. Oh, let's try and get my feet round. There we go. Let's try and get in. Slipping and sliding. Golden YouTube quality right now. Look at this. And if you know your history, let's try and stand in. Look at the size of that generator block. That is extensive, isn't it? Whew. And then you've got the generator vents. Well, I say you have. I did bring a torch with me, but it's coming out okay. So these little squares will be in the generator vents to obviously deal with the heat of the massive generator. And we've seen these generator plimps before on, well, probably the most notable ones are decoy sites. But also remember, we've done two of these on the channel. We've done Dunkirk's one, Dunkirk and Kent, and we've also done Rye's chain home as well. And obviously remember that Rye's one was extremely important. Probably, if I said to anybody, if we had to pick one of importance, the Rye one has got to be the most important one. Although technically it's not in Rye, but don't tell anybody. Just watch the video. Go back and type in Rye chain home. And then we've got, look, some original lighting. We've got the fixtures that are just here. I can't really move because it is so slippery here. Like I said before, even though I've got a very good grip on my boots today, I'm very aware that it will happen. I guarantee I'm going to slip and slide today. I'm sort of dreading going up to the operations room because last time I managed to get up there, yeah, again, not gonna say too much. I'm keeping you all in suspense. We got to be aware of in here as well, before we disappear from this place. It is a block within a block. So much like we would see in blast shelters, the idea is that you're containing that, keeping some heat circulated. So we've got an open air, it goes right the way round on these double sides here. Obviously, can I try and get through there? Let's try. Oh, it's going to be a bit wet, maybe. Oh, there we go. So yeah, hang on a minute. I've got a torch. Hang on. So look at this. Whoa. We ignore the creepy crawlies. There we go. Have torch will travel. So you can see that it's got this inner casing within it, and obviously the generator ports that are, sorry, the vents that are there. Blimey, I cannot believe I'm just gonna keep filming. There we go. Made it out, everybody. Right. There we go. So, final one, operations room. Come with me, please. Come on. Right, welcome to the operations room. Oh man, I tell you what, is it me, or when you get to a certain age, you just get so scared of like falling and wobbling and everything else? Not pretty, is it? Oh. Right, well, let me get in and I will show you the operations room. So come on, let's go. So, we're inside. Look at that view slip there, amazing, isn't it? Now normally, depending on when you come down here, this will pretty much be flooded up until this point where you see this debris here. So it's actually quite nice to see it in fairly good condition under the circumstances. I apologise for it being a little bit dark. Mind you, I could use my torch, couldn't I? But I mean, is it going to make too much of a difference? No. But yeah, you got your nice little bits of graffiti. And obviously, like I said, so this really would have been the main hub of operations. Obviously, calling it the operations room is obviously a given, but this really would have been where all the action would have taken place. Obviously, trying to make sure those signals were being properly transmitted to get a really good location of those German boats out there, and then obviously moving on to the light aircraft themselves. It's amazing feats of engineering, and like I said, it's just a beautiful piece really when you sort of put it into its own context of where we are. Like I said, I thoroughly recommend you come down there and visit. Obviously check the tide, which is what I've done. Obviously that's your sensible thing there. Oh, and then yeah, here we go, getting split into other bits. Now one of the reasons why I did want to come down here in this type of weather was to literally, in hope that it would be dry enough that I wouldn't be slipping and sliding too much. But as we know, when you come down to the coast, that's never a guarantee, is it? But what amazing pieces of history we've got here. So that would have been one of the entrance points. Obviously we went into the other one, so this would have been facing out the way it would have done. So what you've got to try and imagine is that this tilt here, that would have been pretty much exactly the same, but obviously up like that, looking outwards. So it's facing the right way is what I'm trying to say. Above us is the radar. We'll talk about that when we have a look up there. Yes, we are gonna go up the stairs. But as I've mentioned before, no amount of grip. It's all well and good coming in, but am I going to be able to come out without cracking my head open? Because as you know, when you fall on something like this, it bloody well hurts. Well, could do worse than that. So just be careful when you come down here, everybody. And please don't be my age, where you generally start going, oh God, one wrong step and then I'm going to hurt myself. So I don't know why I sound like Frank Spencer then. But yeah, it's true. Especially at my age. If I slip and slide, it's game over, everyone. Right, let's try and get up here. I'm not going to film that because I might need two hands, so let's go. Right, so here I am standing on top of the operations room, and for very good reason, because I just want to point this out. It's starting to get really windy. That ringlet there is the radar, sorry. So there would have been a radar situated on top of that. pointing outwards. Oh god, that wind is terrible. So yeah, you can imagine that being placed, finding those signals. There's the remains of a little ladder there. I can't believe when I was younger I used to climb up all this stuff. It's crazy, isn't it? And now I'm an elderly man and I worry about my responsibilities in life, which is still none, but you never know. So yeah, there we go. I thought I'd just show you that. All well and good. Nice one. Right, that's the radar bit. Let's head back down. Dreading this. Come on, mate. I just really want to make this really clear to people. If you climb up here, you just got to be so careful. I mean, these steps, we always know that when it's green, it's got that green algae on it and it becomes very slippery and slimy. So please, if you do come up here, please be careful. That's all I'm saying. It happens to the best of us. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've sort of had mini accidents exploring, just slipping. It's amazing how much damage you can do to yourself. So all I'm asking is, when you do come down here, first things first, have a friend to come with you, or just get someone to come with you. Try not to do it on your own, just in case, to catch you when they fall. But also just be aware, because it's so easy that you can fall on something like that. So, you know, there's nothing really much to grip on. I'm just sort of like being Papa Smurf here. Oh, there we go. Oh, nice angle. Yeah, just being Papa Smurf and just letting you know that stuff like that, even though it might look relatively okay, it is actually quite dangerous. But more importantly, we've still got to get out of here, so come on. Okay, so the wind's died down a little bit, which is good, although the sound of the incoming tide still brings its discomfort. So I've got a confession to make about this place, and it's a very good one. In fact, I might even put a shout out to the persons involved. So here we go. Can't believe I'm saying this. When I was younger, we'll head away now. When I was younger, I was a model. I know you're laughing because you're thinking he's now overweight, he's got chubby cheeks, and he doesn't look hipster at all. But I used to be a model, and I got my modelling career. God, I got my modelling career through being in a band. And back in my day, it was referred to as the scene. So I had this big old hair coming down, and I had hate to admit it, I had a six-pack. Obviously, I had all my tattoos, I had my flesh tunnels. At the time back then, I had my lip piercing, which was called a snake bite, and I also had my eyebrow done. So, fast forward, in between gigs and exploring, I'd be often called out to do photo shoots for normally what would be referred to at the time, oh no, can't believe I'm saying this, as emo scene wear. Okay, and I'll stay here and talk about this because this is obviously I'm saying about this being relevant. And one of my photo shoots that I had was me standing on top of that with two rather attractive at the time, we all change, I'm sure, two rather attractive tattooed alternative women, of which I used to still do have a fondness for. And to be polite about it, we'd sort of done a photo shoot all around here, because the photographer was like, I want to do something in Kent because you live in Kent. And I was like, yeah, great. And I was like, she's like, I want something a little bit edgy but not too dangerous. And for some strange reason, we came down here, and the two two women, they weren't women at the time and nor was I a man. We came down here and well, the embarrassing part about it was they weren't wearing mini clothes, okay? And obviously I was tattooed up and I was, you know, I wasn't naked and they weren't naked either, I just need to point out, but it was a modelling alternative photo shoot. So if you even get an inkling of what that is, it's just a lot of tattoos, a lot of very attractive women now. Obviously we were younger back then. And it was, one of my photo shoots was taken up on top of that. And I had, and this is why I bring this point up to you, little funny story within this, completely off tangent. God, oh God, I can't believe I'm really saying this. I was wearing Converse. Now I love Converse. What I didn't love was the fact that obviously I was younger, so I was showing off and I was like, hey, you know, whatever. I climbed up them stairs, walked right across to the radar site. Obviously didn't tell them about any of the history of it because obviously you just don't when you're cool, trying to be cool. How things have changed. And how can I politely say this? As I was showing off, no. As I came down the steps in my Converse, the second to last step, you guessed it, I stacked it. Yep, yeah, I did it. And it was very painful because, another confession, I still just about, by the way, I still have my little, some of you might have it, little tailbone from when we were primates. So I've got a little tailbone thing, and it hit on that step and it like launched me into a series of pain for which I managed to keep a straight face. Two very attractive women, obviously. And at this point, I had to help them down because that's in my nature. And then they had to get changed within there, within the operations room. Yeah, didn't think I'd be saying that on camera, did you? Now, Zara was the photographer's name, and unfortunately, because it was years ago, we're talking like 20 years ago now, it's Zara or Katie. Katie was a Katie would know Zara as well. Just putting shout outs here, just in case you might watch it. They'll know, and they'll have the photos of me with these other two very attractive girls. Can't really say too much more about that, but there you go. Have I embarrassed myself on YouTube? Quite possibly. Good to know. Anyway, on that wonderful bombshell of a note, are we allowed to say that on YouTube? B word? No. Find out. I thought I'd just express that to you. Former alternative emo / scene model. And yeah, good times. Wish I still had those photos. Wish I wasn't single. Lots of things I wish at the moment could be different. But there you go. But yeah, amazing, isn't it? So yeah, that's why I made it very important to all of you. If you come here, please be careful, because even, you know, I wore Converse in front of two very attractive girls who were just, yeah, whatever. It was a nice time, okay? But for all of you lot out there, it was very respectful, and I look gorgeous. Okay, no, I'm joking. Right, anyway, any more words of Phoenix history? Thank you so much for coming along with me. Oh God, am I going to put this up on YouTube? I think I am, for a bit of a laugh. Right, take care everybody, I'll see y'all very soon. Come out. Oh, because history matters. No, you wanted that last bit. See ya.